Let's step into one of history's most mysterious cases, the secret of the shadows. Today we'll tell you the story of Henry Mitchell's disappearance. But first, a question. If a child suddenly disappears from home, what could be behind it? Now, let's hear from the mother, Margaret Mitchell.
When I opened my eyes, Henry's bed was empty. For a moment I thought I was dreaming, but there was just a note. If you want your child back, bring $40,000. Follow the instructions. At that moment, my whole world turned upside down. Our house suddenly became a crime scene. Every corner, every crumb was scrutinized by the police. There was hope, there was fear, there was questioning. Where is Henry?
It's a very sad situation. Now, let's hear from the father, John Mitchell.
We made arrangements for the ransom payment. I left half the money in the woods, as instructed, but there was no sign of Henry. That ladder, I'll never forget it, like a ghost descending he was there, but Henry wasn't. Every night I dream I hear his voice. This nightmare never ends.
It is not only the drama of a family, but also the fears and hopes of a community. Now, let's talk to the detectives who are trying to solve this mystery.
This is a tough case. A ladder in the woods, footprints, but no sign of Henry. The language of the ransom letter pointed to someone local, but that was only the beginning. Henry's room showed no signs of forced entry. Could this have been an inside job?
Yes, I found that money in the woods. But I had nothing to do with this kidnapping. I used the money because I needed it. I built a ladder for the Mitchells, they're good people. It's not my fault.
So, let's look at our suspects to solve this conundrum. But first, viewers, what do you think could be behind this?
That night, I saw a car speeding past our house. It was like a shadow. It looked like a child. I couldn't see the license plate, but something wasn't right about that car. Were they taking Henry?
Is the car Martha saw a critical clue in the case? Is Bruno the kidnapper or someone else?
I know my way around the woods. The night Henry disappeared, I heard children crying in the woods. No one believed me. Maybe Henry's being held here, in a shelter or a cabin. But these woods are big, hard to search.
Are the voices Elmer hears a clue to Henry's whereabouts? Where do you think this secret place in the forest could be?
I listened to every suspect, but none of them brought my son back. After the ransom payment, who was the author of the note? No one knows. Every night, I look at Henry's bed, looking for a clue, a sign.
As the search continued, we searched in our own way. I spent part of every night in the woods shouting Henry's name. This boy was hope for this town. We want him back.
The investigation of this case is not only with the police, but with the whole society. Let us now learn more about the measures society is taking against child abduction and the role of the media in this process. We will now hear from historian Dr. Susan Grant.
The 1950s was a period of intense media coverage of child abductions in the United States. The Mitchell case shows how society had developed a sensitivity to child safety. Such incidents emphasized the importance of locked doors, streetlights, and tighter supervision of children.
How has this incident changed the way families raise their children and society's perception of safety? Audience, what do you think is the best way to protect our children? Police interrogation. A search of Bruno's home revealed paper and pen similar to the ransom note. However, this alone is not enough. Martha's description fits several people's cars, but Bruno's car was in the woods that night. The noises Elmer heard indicate that Henry is being held somewhere in the woods, but there is no trace of the source of these noises. Media and public. The incident received widespread national media coverage. Photos of the Mitchell family and appeals were everywhere. This both raised public awareness and led to some misinformation bombardment. Townspeople increased the security of their own homes and showed solidarity as a community to prevent this kind of incident from happening again. To better understand this case, we will talk to Dr. Emily Carter, a psychologist specializing in child abduction cases. What can Dr. Carter tell us about how the psychology of the criminal works in such cases? And viewers, what do you think the real intentions of the criminal might be?
In child abduction cases, the motivations of the offender are often complex. In kidnappings for ransom, the perpetrator usually intends to return the child unharmed. However, in this case, the fact that the child was not found despite paying the ransom suggests that other psychological factors may be at play. Perhaps the perpetrator has lost a sense of control or is pursuing some other goal.
Police operation. The police traced the ransom money, but some of it was found in Bruno's possession. Bruno's testimony repeated the story of finding the money, but claimed he had not kidnapped Henry. Detective O'Connor focused on the inconsistencies in Bruno's testimony, but is still searching for conclusive evidence. Crime scene investigation. The crime scene, Henry's room, was examined repeatedly. The windows were closed and the locks were in place. This strengthened the suspicion that the culprit was someone inside the house. However, the household and the immediate neighborhood were also questioned, but no clear evidence was found. Public opinion and the media. The media coverage of the case not only accelerated the investigation, but also led to the spread of misinformation and rumors. The town of Hopewell mobilized to find Henry, but this also gave rise to speculation and conspiracy theories. At this point, viewers, how do you think we can help solve this case? Which clues should we dig deeper into? Bruno's interrogation. Bruno was nervous and defensive during the interrogation. The contradictions in his testimony caught the attention of the police. However, when Bruno admitted that he had found and used the ransom money, it was not enough to prove his guilt. Martha's testimony. The car Martha saw looked like Bruno's car, but there was no license plate and her testimony was not conclusive. This raised the suspicion that Bruno might be guilty, but it was still suspicious. Traces of Elmer. The sound of Elmer crying prompted the police to conduct an extensive search of the woods. However, these searches proved fruitless, raising the possibility that perhaps Henry had moved elsewhere. Viewers, to solve this mystery, we need to put all these pieces together. Bruno's money, Martha's car, Elmer's voices. What detail could be the missing piece of this puzzle?
Years later, new evidence emerged. In the woods, in the shelter that Elmer had mentioned, a blanket and an escape bag, thought to be Henry's, were found. The car Martha had seen turned out to be the one Bruno had been driving. Bruno finally confessed. However, Henry's whereabouts are still unknown. It remains an unsolved mystery, but justice, at least in this tragedy, has revealed the guilty party.
This story hangs over the town of Hopewell, almost like a nightmare. Let us now consider the consequences of this mysterious event and its impact on society.
Henry's loss is a wound for us. A wound that will never heal. Every year, on his birthday, I light a candle for him. I live in despair, but also in hope that one day he will return. This town will never forget Henry's name.
This event changed our lives forever. We have questioned what we can do to keep our children safe. As a society, we have learned how to better protect our children. But Henry, our son, is still not with us.
How has this incident changed society's perception of child safety? And viewers, what steps do you think should be taken to prevent such tragic incidents from happening again?
This led to new laws on child safety in the U.S. The Mitchell Act established federal jurisdiction in interstate child abduction cases. In addition, the public became more vigilant and neighborhood relationships became stricter for the safety of children.
How effective were new laws, public awareness, and the role of the media in this case? And how have these events shaped society's understanding of child rearing? In the wake of this incident, there have been many changes in child safety in the town of Hopewell and beyond. Audience, do you think tragic events like this change society for the better, or do they just create fear? The scars left by this event are not limited to legal changes or neighborhood solidarity. It also left deep marks on the psychological structure of individuals and society.
Events like the disappearance of Henry Mitchell undermine trust in society. Families may withdraw and social interactions may decrease in order to protect their children more. Such traumas have long-term psychological effects. Children may become more suspicious of the outside world and parents may become overprotective.
How do these psychological effects shape the future of society? And viewers, how much do you think these events have changed the way we raise children?
After that day, we were afraid to even take our children out on the streets. Schools, parks, everywhere has been made safer, but there is still not that old sense of freedom. Everyone started paying more attention to each other, but in a way, it changed our society. Now we are worried about our children, but at the same time, we have learned to trust each other more.
In the aftermath of this incident, how has the solidarity of society and the increased security measures affected children's freedom? And viewers, do you think such measures are beneficial or harmful for children's development? The consequences of this event are full of lessons, not only for Henry and his family, but for society as a whole. And now, following this story, viewers, what lessons do you think we as a society can learn from such tragic events? The disappearance of Henry Mitchell reminded us how precious the safety of our children is. While this event emphasized the importance of social changes and individual safety measures, it also showed how powerful it is to come together and show solidarity. Today, even if we don't know where Henry is, this story has taught us how to find hope even in despair. It will be remembered as a monument to the solidarity of a community and the pursuit of justice. And viewers, you too can learn your own lessons from this story and help make our children's future safer.